The movie begins with a shy girl named Agnes talking to her older sister, Julia, about the school play. Agnes is very worried that she might not pass the audition, but Julia encourages her, telling her to trust in her abilities because she has a deep emotional connection to things. Julia emphasizes that Agnes needs to overcome her shyness, warning her that it might cost her the chance to become a famous star. Agnes goes to school and complains about how tough the audition process is. After school, she sees her sister and her sister's boyfriend, Noel, joking around together. It's clear that Agnes has had a crush on Noel for a long time and wishes she could have a boyfriend like him. At home, the sisters help their mother prepare dinner, and Noel comes over to join them for the meal. Agnes quickly fixes her hair to make sure she looks her best in front of him. During dinner, Julia gets into an argument with her mother because she isn't allowed to stay out late at her friend's party. Her mother says she's worried about Julia because she drinks too much. Agnes, tired of their fight, gets up from the dinner table and goes to her room to be alone. Noel joins her, and they watch a movie together. Noel tells Agnes that she has great taste in movies. Noel excitedly explains how much he loves the movie, saying he even knows all the lines by heart. Agnes is happy to realize they share common interests. While reaching for popcorn, she accidentally touches his hand and quickly pulls hers away. Later, Julia walks in and tells Agnes that their mother has finally agreed to let her go to the party, but only on the condition that Agnes accompanies her. Later that evening, they all go to the party. Agnes stands off to the side, watching her sister enjoy herself. She feels envious and wishes she could be more like Julia. In the bathroom, Agnes receives a message from school announcing that she has been accepted for the play. Overjoyed, she feels like her dream of becoming a famous star is finally coming true. Suddenly, she hears the sound of Julia and Noel arguing and steps out to see what's going on. Noel tells her that Julia had an argument with him and then stormed out, driving away in her car. He's worried because Julia is drunk and might lose control of the car. Unfortunately, as Noel feared, Julia loses control and crashes. At the hospital, the doctors inform her mother that they did everything they could, but they weren't able to save Julia. Her mother, devastated, breaks down in tears, overwhelmed by the loss of her daughter. Agnes, deeply saddened, finds herself unable to cry. She refuses to believe that her sister, the most important person in her life, is gone. 2 days later, Agnes goes back to school, even though her mother had taken a week off for her to rest. But Agnes doesn't want to stay home and dwell on her sister's death. At school, she visits the drama teacher's office and thanks her for the opportunity to act in the play. The teacher tells her that she's very talented and that she wouldn't have given her such a chance if she didn't truly believe in her abilities. The teacher goes on to say that she understands Agnes's pain and shares her own story. When she was Agnes's age, her brother passed away. At the time, she made many choices she later regretted. However, she decided to change her path and live in a way that honored her brother's memory. She focused entirely on her education and eventually succeeded in becoming a drama teacher. She advises Agnes to learn from her mistakes and not let sorrow take over her life. After school, Agnes goes home with her friend and advises her to clean her house. While her friend looks through the fridge for something to eat, she accidentally finds Julia's birthday cake. Agnes picks up the cake and looks at it sadly, still unable to believe that her sister passed away on her birthday. What was supposed to be a night of celebration turned into the worst nightmare of her life. Later, Agnes reads a message from her mother, saying she should stay with her grandmother for a few days to recover. This makes Agnes upset, as she feels she needs her mother's presence and support now more than ever. That evening, Noel comes over to talk to her, but Agnes doesn't respond. She blames him, at least indirectly, for her sister's death. Afterward, Agnes looks at her sister's photos on Instagram, deeply moved by her life and her friendships. She then decides to act like her sister, and the first thing she does is wear her sister's clothes to school. Julia's friends see her and are shocked because she looks exactly like Julia. During lunch, Agnes sits with her sister's friends and tries to joke and talk like Julia to show them that, in a way, she's still with them. After lunch, Noel stops Agnes and tells her that he's been trying to reach out to her since her sister's death, but she hasn't responded. He tells her he needs her because he's devastated by Julia's death and doesn't know how to move on. But Agnes says there's nothing she can do to help. She walks away from Noelle and goes to the bathroom, where, for the first time since her sister's death, she breaks down and cries. Later, Agnes attends drama practice. At the start of the session, the teacher hands out random pieces of paper, each representing an emotion, and asks everyone to act out the assigned feeling. When it's Agnes's turn, she is given anger. She tells the teacher she can't portray it properly because it's too embarrassing for her. The teacher encourages her, saying she needs to scream as loudly as she can while channeling her pain and grief. Agnes feels too shy to scream, but the teacher suggests she imagine herself as someone who isn't afraid to yell. Instantly, Agnes thinks of her sister and lets out a loud, powerful scream without caring about anyone around her. Her friends are moved by her performance and begin screaming too. As days pass, Agnes increasingly starts to resemble her sister, not just in appearance but also in behavior and in doing things she never used to do before. One day, Agnes goes to a party with her sister's friends, and throughout the night, she drinks until she gets drunk and decides to take drugs. However, her friends stop her because they're worried about her and surprised by her new behavior, as she had always been a disciplined girl who stayed away from parties and alcohol. Agnes, upset with everything, leaves the party and goes home. Noelle becomes concerned and quickly follows her to her house. When Agnes enters, she realizes that Noelle has come after her and asks about her mother. She tells him that her mother has been living at her grandmother's house since her sister's death. Noelle gives her some water to help her sober up and then helps her clean the kitchen. Agnes feels comforted because, at that moment, she needs someone to be there for her. The next day, Agnes continues her rehearsals for the play and delivers a beautiful performance that impresses the audience. She channels her real grief for her sister into the performance, and her coach is pleased with her work, asking her to deliver the same performance during the actual show. After the rehearsal, Agnes leaves the theater and sees that Noelle is waiting for her. They spend the day together, talking about the funny childhood memories they shared. Most of Agnes's memories are of her sister, and when she talks about her, she becomes very emotional and can't hold back her tears. Noelle suggests they go to a nearby lake to find some peace. Agnes agrees, and they go together. They stay by the lake until morning, spending time together. It's clear that Noelle has feelings for Agnes, but neither of them dares to express their emotions. Finally, when they return home, Agnes loses control and gets close to Noelle. Later, Noelle regrets the incident and feels guilty. She tells Agnes that they have betrayed her sister and decides to leave. Agnes tries to stop her, but Noelle walks out the door. At a party, Agnes angrily goes after Noelle and asks him how long he's going to keep running away from her. Noelle says he can't look at her because every time he does, he is reminded of his sister. He asks Agnes to stop her behavior and stop imitating his sister, as neither of them can replace her. Noelle tells Agnes that for the past 3 years, he had been trying to protect his sister from suicide and self-harm, but no one knew about it. Shocked by this revelation, Agnes blames Noelle and tells him that he is responsible for her sister's death. As Agnes is deeply upset, she returns home and starts going through her sister's phone. She discovers that her sister had been struggling with severe depression for the past 3 years and that antidepressants had not been effective. She also finds out that her sister had turned to alcohol because of her depression, and the last message she had sent to their mother was a cry for help. Agnes is devastated by this truth and becomes overwhelmed with sadness. Her mother then enters the room and holds her as she cries. Agnes asks her why she never told her the truth and wonders why she didn't help her sister. Her mother comforts her, telling her that her sister loved her with all her heart and didn't want to make her upset. After this, Agnes decides to be her true self and stop imitating her sister. The next day, Agnes wears her own clothes and goes to school. There, she meets Esther, one of her sister's friends, and tells her about her sister's struggles. Esther isn't surprised that Agnes knows about it. They reminisce about the good times they shared with her sister. Then, Agnes returns to the theater and apologizes to her coach and classmates for her past behavior. She decides to move forward and give her best performance in the play. Over time, Agnes's mental state improves. She returns to her normal life and visits her sister's grave every day. On the day of the performance, she waits in the dressing room, feeling sad that her sister won't be there with her. But when Noel enters with a flower to visit her, Agnes is happy to see him. She delivers an amazing performance, and the audience gives her a warm reception. The video ends with the crowd cheering and standing up. I hope you enjoyed watching the video. For more videos, please subscribe to the channel and give me energy with your likes and comments.